All right, welcome. I am here for the first time in Aloha High School. So, welcome to biology again, quarter four. We're just starting quarter four, and we're here in G10. Um, for most of you, though, you're still going to be here in CDL. So, as always, thanks for being here, and let me talk you through the assignment. First off, though, a couple little changes. Now that we are returning to hybrid, or we're starting hybrid, I should say, I have to structure the class just a little bit different. And so, what I've done then is we will still have 2-day assignments, right? So, you might recall that day one, I introduced the activity. You have time to work on it. And then day two is completely, I'm here for you and supporting you. And supporting you in that assignment. And that won't work perfectly when we have students in person now uh, every day, one day and then one day. So um, with that in mind, I've decided to continue with the 2-day assignments, but I am going to kind of break the assignment into two parts. And so you'll see this at the top says day one. It could be part one. Really, this for us this week will be Thursday, and so on Thursday I'm hoping that you'll get through day one. And so just kind of showing you here uh, what that looks like. Okay, as we introduce the organelles and cell structure, cellular anatomy. Um, and so you'll see that there's, I believe, 6 questions. And then we get to day two. And so that will really be kind of the goal for each day then. Get this far, ask questions in class, and then day two, we'll go over a second part. What you'll notice though, okay, so 6 questions is not a whole lot, right? I didn't want to make the assignments bigger. So even though I'm trying to organize it differently, it really can have the same effect and kind of the same length as well as structure. So you could, if you wanted, go through day one and day two all at once, and then on one of the days you can sit here and ask questions about the entire assignment. Or again, I'm structuring this mostly for the in-person students. You focus on day one, and during day one you have questions that we can talk about and go over as a class by the end of day one. Then we're ready to start day two. And so you might recall that most of our assignments were anywhere from 8 to 12 questions. And so I'm really going to keep the length about the same. And with that you'll see that this day two is actually a review to just a couple weeks ago now, when we talked about DNA replication. And this was really before we talked about protein synthesis. So I wanted just to review that because it will help us then with this new unit as we talk about cells. So again, there's an overview of some of the changes, but here is now a little discussion about our introduction here. So first, our goal today is to understand what is a cell and how is a cell organized. And the biggest thing then to understand is that a cell has these small structures within them called organelles. And so similar to how our body is organized, right? We have our body. You could think of our body as a cell. And then within our body, we have organs, our heart, our liver, our stomach, right? We are aware of these things, our brain. And we know that every organ has a different function. It does something differently and it's designed differently so that it can do something different, right? Our stomach is very different from our brain. although it tends to make decisions a lot for us. Uh, but organelles are the same thing. So within the cell, you have these organelles that have specific jobs within the cell. And so this is going to happen in every single cell of your body, regardless of what kind of cell it is. So I think is pretty interesting. That being said, this video is about 7 minutes long. Where we're going to watch it as a class, but I'm not going to play it here. It is really important to watch. It goes through the role of these organelles. So that's really, if you look at this structure here, it's a model, and then I have some descriptions. These descriptions are going to be shown to you in a much better way in this video. So I highly encourage you to take the time to watch this again in class now, because we do have students in person, and our goal is to get through day one more or less together. I will start showing these in class now on Zoom. Okay, so please watch this if you miss class.
All right, staff, this is my first official Over the PA announcement of
good.
the year. Two things. First of all, thank you just for engaging so much and working through these next couple days.
I apologize for the delay.
To say thanks. Staff lunch is now served. Here's what we've got.
Ooh.
In the cafeteria, pizza, drinks, all of that. For the gluten-free or vegan, we have food in the staff lounge. So if you fall into that category, come to the staff lounge. Everyone else in the cafeteria, and drinks are in the cafeteria as well. So come join us.
All right. So we will get used to having random kind of interruptions, I think. So I apologize for that. So again, each of these organelles has a function, and some are going to be more important than others. And so I have not highlighted all of them, but I have pulled out some important characteristics and descriptions of some key ones that we want to be aware of. Okay, and then while for the most part I've been focusing on animal cells, I did want to, that's kind of a bad view, show a plant cell, and mostly because of the chloroplast. And chloroplast is going to be unique to plants, as this is the organelle that does photosynthesis. It goes through the process, right, of converting light energy into relatively stable chemical energy. And that's incredibly important because that also allows all life on Earth to be possible. So chloroplasts are definitely ones that we want to know about. Again, though, going up here, the questions below are going to be asking you about this information. So which organism is responsible for this, and how are they connected? So between the video and these descriptions, you should be able to answer these questions, hopefully somewhat easily. Okay. That being said, if you're not seeing it or you get stuck, of course, please ask for help. I do have a couple, kind of higher level questions, though. Hypothesizing what might happen if you don't have mitochondria. Mitochondria is in a plant. We see a mitochondrion. It's slightly different, but mitochondria, and here it is. The mitochondria here in the animal cells generates most of the chemical energy needed for the cell's biochemical reactions. Really, that means that is the energy needed for it to live. So that's important. And what would happen if a cell didn't have mitochondria? And fun fact about mitochondria is that it's actually is not coded for in our DNA, and it actually has its own DNA. And so that tells us, as life began on Earth, that these mitochondria we're self-sustaining organisms, and our cells actually consumed them. And now they have a symbiotic relationship where they work together and allow for our cells to exist and to function. So pretty interesting that, again, mitochondria are not native, if you will, to humans or animals, but they are their own unicellular bacteria. Okay, and then again, little reflection. Why is this important? And why are understanding the different parts important? So I want you to reflect about that, and of course, we can talk about that via email or in class. Day 2 now, I'll tell you where we're going. So DNA replication is important, and so we talked about it as an introduction to protein synthesis, but I also want you to know that this is happening all the time in your body. Your cells are constantly replicating DNA, and so we really want to understand why and the significance of that, right? So this is exact copy of what we've already learned. So if you want to skim over this, great. If you don't remember this video, I would encourage you to watch it. These are the steps that, again, we've already had questions on. I literally copied it exactly from our protein synthesis kind of conversation and activity. And so then I have a few questions just checking for, do we remember the key parts and why this is important? So with DNA replication, and again, why we're talking about this is DNA replication is happening all the time, and it's what allows for new cells to be made. So as we talk about cells introductions, we are going to be talking about certain processes where your cells create new cells. And so DNA replication has to happen first so that every cell can have its own strand of DNA, its own copy of DNA. And this is also where we're going to go, well, what happens if there's a mistake, right? We've talked about translation and transcription and you know, how those form proteins, and you know, well, what happens if there's a mutation? And as cells divide and create new cells, what do those mutations do? What can they do? Are they good? Are they bad? And so we're really going to be talking about mitosis as well as meiosis, and what those are and the differences, but then how the DNA and these mutations can also be a big part of that. So again, this is just the introduction. So I wanted to review DNA replication, as this is a part of cellular replication as well. Okay, and that's going to be mitosis. But that is it. So good luck. Please let me know if you have questions, and thank you for watching.